Hello, and welcome. As an AI expert with deep experience in modern hotel operations, I'm pleased to welcome all of you from the Europe Hotel School to this online learning journey. Today, we're diving into something that is absolutely at the heart of any successful hotel launch, mastering the property management system. This is such a critical part of your professional development, so let's jump right in.
So let's start with this core idea. Calling the PMS the central nervous system of a hotel. That's not just a clever phrase, it's the fundamental truth of how modern hotels operate. Just think about it for a second. Every single reservation, every guest request, every charge to a room, it all has to flow through this one single system. Getting it right isn't just important, it's completely non-negotiable for a smooth opening.
So to really get a handle on this, we're going to walk through 5 key stages. First, we'll dig into why the PMS is the hotel's nervous system. Then, we'll tackle the big decisions, choosing the right one, setting it up for your specific hotel, and loading it with all that critical data. And we'll wrap up with the ultimate pre-launch trial, the final stress test.
All right, section 1. So why is this single piece of software just so vital? Well, it's because getting the PMS implementation right is probably the single most critical tech challenge you are going to face before opening your doors. If you get this wrong, the problems just ripple out and touch every single department, from the front desk all the way to finance.
And don't ever make the mistake of thinking the PMS is just some kind of digital reservation book. It's so much more. It's really the command center for the entire front office. It manages every crucial moment of a guest's stay, from the very second a reservation is made to the moment they check out and settle that final bill. The PMS is the system tracking and managing it all.
Moving right along to section 2. Let's look at where this journey actually begins. See, long before the first guest ever thinks about walking through the door, a really massive decision has to be made. Choosing the right PMS, it's like drawing the blueprint for the hotel's entire technological success.
Now, this isn't a decision that's made in a vacuum by one person. It's a huge strategic choice, usually made by the heads of finance, IT, and the front office. And they're typically weighing 3 big things. First off, does the hotel brand, like Marriott or Hilton, require a specific system? Second, what's the budget? And third, how complex is the hotel itself? A huge, sprawling resort with a spa and multiple restaurants has very different needs than a sleek, streamlined city hotel. The PMS has to be the right fit.
And beyond those big drivers, there are 3 things that are just non-negotiable. First up, integration. Can the PMS actually talk to all the other systems, from the central reservation system to the restaurant's point of sale? If it can't, you're basically guaranteeing billing errors and really frustrated guests. Second, scalability. Will the system work flawlessly when you're sold out on New Year's Eve, or is it going to crash? And finally, is it user-friendly? A complicated system means a long, painful training period for your new team right before you open.
Okay, on to section 3. The system has been chosen. Now, the real work begins. Configuration is where you build the hotel's unique DNA, all of its operational logic and financial rules, directly into the software. And let me tell you, this phase demands absolute, total precision. So this whole process really breaks down into 3 core steps. First, every single room type and rate code has to be built with perfect pricing logic. One tiny mistake here, and you are literally losing money from day one. Second, you have to define the billing rules. How does a charge from the spa magically appear on a guest's bill? That's all defined here. Get it wrong, and you've got chaos at the checkout desk. And finally, you set up all the financial controls for shifts and audits to make sure every dollar is accounted for.
Now for section 4. A perfectly configured system is kind of like a high-performance engine. But, without fuel, it's just a piece of metal. Loading it with accurate, mission-critical data, that's what brings the whole thing to life.
So what kind of data are we talking about here? Well, first, inventory. The number of rooms you can actually sell in the system must be a perfect match for the physical reality of the hotel, no exceptions. Second, guest profiles. For a big hotel chain, this might mean migrating tons of loyalty data. For a new independent hotel, it's about setting up the system to capture guest info for future marketing. And third, you have to load up and test those connections to all your sales channels, Booking.com, Expedia, the whole lot, to make sure people can actually book your rooms.
Now, speaking of inventory, here is a really crucial piece of industry knowledge you absolutely have to know. It's the difference between out of order and out of service. An OOO room, think of that as temporarily offline, maybe for a quick plumbing fix or a broken TV. It's still part of your total room count. But an OOS room, that's a whole different story. That room is taken completely out of your sellable inventory, usually for a long-term renovation. This distinction is critical because it directly impacts your revenue and occupancy forecasts. And that brings us to our fifth and final section, the final stress test. After all that selection, all that configuration, and all that data loading, this system has to face one last, really intense trial. This is the moment of truth. This is what makes sure you are truly ready for day one.
This final trial? It's called user acceptance testing, or UAT for short. And here's the thing that makes it so incredibly important. This isn't done by the IT guys or the vendor. Nope. UAT is done by the actual front office team, the people who are going to use the system every single day. They simulate every possible guest scenario they can think of to see if the system cracks under real-world pressure.
And listen, we are not talking about a few test clicks here and there. The team is going to run hundreds of simulated transactions. They'll try to check in huge groups all at once. They'll process complicated billing from every restaurant, and they'll handle messy room changes and special requests. The whole goal is to replicate the controlled chaos of a busy hotel lobby to see if the system can actually handle it.
So the goals of UAT are crystal clear. First, you've got to push that system to its absolute limits to make sure it won't crash when you need it most. Second, you hunt down every single bug, big or small, so the vendor can fix them before a real guest ever experiences them. And third, you confirm that the way the system is set up actually works with the hotel's day-to-day procedures.
You know, at the end of the day, this is the payoff. This whole meticulous, systematic approach, which is a core discipline we focus on here, is what guarantees success. It ensures that when those front doors finally swing open, your team is confident, your technology is stable, and you are ready to deliver a flawless guest experience from the very first check-in. So we'll end with the one question that every single one of you, as a future hotel leader, has to be able to answer with 100% confidence. Is your technology ready for day one? Because here's the thing about opening a hotel. You don't get a second chance to make a first impression. Getting your property management system right isn't just an investment in technology, it's an investment in success itself. Thank you for joining this learning module.